welcome to the second episode, or episode 2 of the Karen Knits podcast. My name is Karen, and I'm coming to you from South Central Pennsylvania in the United States. My social media information can all be found in the information box down below. I'll have that added in for everyone down there. I'd like to really take a moment to thank everyone who took the time to watch my very first episode last week. I really appreciate the support you've given me and really appreciate that you took the time to watch the video, and I really want to thank you for coming back to see me again. I'd also like to welcome anyone who might be a new viewer to my podcast and you're just stumbling upon this in my second week, or hopefully down the road you're finding out about me sometime later and you're going back and watching my old episodes. So this week, I hope I don't go for close to an hour this week, but we'll see. But I shouldn't be quite as long this week. The first thing I want to do this week is I want to follow up on one of the projects I was working on last week that I was getting close to finish. And I've actually finished. I have a finished object to show you. And there's some of my hair. These are the bicycle race socks. They are made in Cascade Heritage in the colorway Christmas Red. They were the stage 3 socks in the 2018 Tour de Sock. I will link down below to the information about the Tour de Sock and where you can find out more. The competition is finished for 2018, but it'll be something cool to look into for subsequent years. Sorry, I'm just looking down at my notes. So these socks, if you can see on here, they're gorgeous cabled twisted stitch pattern. They have beads added to them. If you just give me a second, I'm going to take this off of this, and I'm going to put it on my foot mannequin so you can get a better look at the rest of the better detailing on the pattern. So I only have one of these. I really like to get a second one, but here we have the patterning. Hope the focus is coming in okay on this. So some gorgeous cable patterning down the front of the leg and then down the front of the foot. There's little beads that were added in along the leg on the front and also on the back. It's a nice plain side. And then again, you can see a few more of the beads happening here, and the nice cable pattern going down the back of the leg and the back of the heel. It has the heel turns coming around here. It's a really pretty sock. I don't know if I mentioned it's a bicycle race by Heidi Nick. I hope I remember to mention that right from the get-go, hopefully. But anyway, so this is my finished object for the week. I'm really happy to have these done. They're gorgeous, gorgeous sock, and I'm looking forward to wearing them. Next, I want to spend a bit of time looking at a couple of my works in progress. I managed to get a decent amount of work done on, relatively speaking, a decent amount of work done on two of my works in progresses as well. The first one that I've spent a bit of time working on, this is the one this is my nice mindless knit that I'm working on. This is the Sockhead Slouch hat. This is by McClure. The yarn I'm using for this was one of the, I think it was Knit Picks Bear in the Stroll Fingering yarn. It's a yarn that I dyed myself using a gradient, dyeing. I need to do a little bit more work on practicing with gradient yarns, but so far I really enjoy it. So this is what it's looking like now. So you can see it's not really that gradient, but where the stitch marker is, that's where I left off last week. So I've finished the brim, and I'm into just the plain stockingette portion now, and it's just coming along nicely. It's a nice mindless little knit that I can work on when I watching TV, or I don't have the ability to really focus and concentrate on it too much. There's still quite a lot left of the skein. You can see that it kind of it does a gradation from a little bit darker blue, and it gets a little bit lighter as you get to the end of it. So I'm just going to keep on knitting through this, and I'll see how far I get and how big the hat gets before I surrender and shut it or stop working on it. The other work in progress that I spent a fair bit of time on, or not a fair bit, I did spend some time on this past week, is my Rowe cardigan. And this is a heavily cabled cardigan pattern by Michele Wang. I'm knitting it with Knit Picks Bear. You might notice a trend here. Knit Picks Bear seems to be one of the yarns that I enjoy working with. I really like it because it allows me the opportunity to do some dyeing myself. Although this, I suspect I'm going to leave this. I'm knitting it as a natural in the bear color right now, and I suspect I'm not going to do any dyeing on this particular one once the yarn, or once the cardigan is finished. But in the past week, and it's the Wool of the Andes superwash, 100% wool superwash. It's again, it's in the bear colorway. So I finished the back. This is actually comical because I'd put this poor thing aside. I hadn't worked on it in ages. I actually looked back through, I keep a log in an Excel file of every month, every day, and a list of the different projects I'm working on, and then I go in and I just put a little X on what I worked on any particular day. So then that way I can go back and see if there's a particular project that I haven't touched in a long time. So I went back and checked what was going on with my Rowe cardigan, and I had cast it on the beginning of February. I worked on it a lot in February. I picked it up a few days, I think 3 or 4 days in March. I touched it once in April, and I hadn't done anything with it at all since sometime in the middle of April. So when I picked it up a couple days ago to get started on it again, after I finished the bicycle race socks first, and then I switched over and I picked up my Rowe cardigan to get back to working on that one. When I picked it up, I double checked to see where I was at, and I realized that once I measured all that good stuff, I realized that I had a total of 4 rows of shoulder shaping to finish the back piece. Like, seriously? 4 rows. It took virtually no time at all to finish off the back. Decreases on the beginning of each of the 4 rows to settle me into having the back being finished. So you leave a bunch of the stitches on a stitch holder. That's the thing I'm thinking about. But I'm just, for the time being, I'm just going to leave it on. I'm using interchangeable needles on this. I'll have to double check. I'll put a note in here. I should mark down what needles I'm using for these. These are interchangeable needles. Anyway, I'll double check that, and if I can't get that edited into the video, I will come back and I'll do that. I'll talk about that next week, because I will be working on this cardigan again for next week. So it's still attached to what's left of one of the skeins, and I just have it on the needles I was working on. So here's the back. So this is like all I did literally was these 4 little rows right here. That's it. But anyway, here's what it looks like unblocked. I'm hoping this is showing up okay, because so it'll look a lot nicer once I get it blocked. But even if I just take a little bit, you just see this just gorgeous cables all through this. It's gonna look fantastic once I get it blocked, once I get it ready to put together. So I finished the back. Embarrassingly, a total of 4 rows needed to be done, but oh well, such is life. Oops. Once I finished with the back, I went ahead and I cast on I thought, oh, I can do the two front pieces, or I can do the sleeves. And I've not really done any work on knitting sweaters yet. And I always hear a lot of podcasters talking about being stuck on sleeve islands. They get one sleeve done, or they're working on one of the sleeves and it just takes forever. So I thought, well, maybe I'll circumvent that. So I thought I'll cast on the sleeves. And I decided I wanted to do them 2 at a time. So I cast on both of them. I will just work through both of the sleeves at the same time so that my increases are consistent. And then once I'm finished the sleeves, they're both done. So cast on the cuffs. It's just a nice simple 2x2 ribbing. And I think the pattern calls for it to go for about 4 inches, and so far I'm a little bit over 2 inches. So I'm about halfway done with the ribbing on the 2 sleeves. What I'll do next part, put in a couple markers and start the pattern. So the pattern going up the sleeves is actually the same pattern as these two side panels down the back of the cardigan. So one of these patterns goes down one sleeve, the other one goes down the other sleeve. So, and they're mirrored to each other. So this one will go down one of the sleeves in this particular cable panel. The other sleeve will have the mirror of it. So hopefully by next week, because this week coming up, I'm really only planning on working on the sleeves for this and my Sockhead slouch. So I'll work on the hat when I don't have to concentrate a lot on doing the cable panels. So I'm hoping to have a fair bit of progress to show you guys next week on what I've done with these. So putting things aside here, the next thing I want to talk about for a little bit is stash enhancement or stash acquisition. As I know, I said in my first video that I don't normally buy a whole lot of yarn, and it doesn't really seem like that's true based on my first 2 episodes here. I've had yarn that I've acquired in both episodes. I think I mentioned in the last episode I had an order coming in from Knit Picks, and it was supposed to arrive on, I think it said it was supposed to arrive on Monday or Tuesday. Well, when I finished taping everything last Saturday, I double checked and went down and checked the mail after everything was done, and lo and behold, there's a nice box of yarn from Knit Picks waiting for me. So it actually arrived a couple days earlier than I expected. But I thought, well, I'll just leave it, and instead of adding on another clip onto the last video, I thought, which was already long enough, I thought I'll just hold off and wait and talk about it this week instead. So what I did was I ordered yarn for an upcoming mystery shawl knit along that I've already bought the pattern. I'm going to join in the beginning of October. It's a mystery shawl pattern by Stephen West. I believe the pattern is called the Texture Shawl. I'll double check on that, and I will put that either down here or down here. I'm going to learn how to do editing this week, or before I get this episode out, I hope. That's the plan, to actually edit this a little bit before I send it out to you guys. But so I ordered the yarn for this shawl, and it calls for 5 different yarns or 5 different colors of yarn. One of them is supposed to be a different texture or a mohair type of yarn or something a little bit fluffier than the other 4. So what I ordered for that was this. And so this is Knit Picks. So I got two skeins of it. It is Knit Picks Aloft in the colorway Celestial. And it's just this gorgeous, gorgeous blue. I love blue. It's one of my favorite colors. It is the 25 gram skeins, 260 yards per skein. It is lace weight. It's 72% kid hair or super kid mohair and 28% silk. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. I really, really, really like it. So this is the texture portion. This will be used for the texture portion of the mystery shawl. And then I also bought 4 skeins of, or 4 hanks of Knit Picks Bear in the Stroll fingering weight yarn. So this is, what is this one? 75% superwash merino wool and 25% nylon. 462 yards per 100 grams. So what I'm going to do with these 4, so I have 4 of them, I'm going to decide on some colors and I'm going to dye them myself. I might leave one just as is, just as the bare yarn with no color on it. I might do some with a little bit of speckling, but I really have to look through the thread on Ravelry and spend some time thinking about exactly how I want to dye them and get that done up. The knit along starts on October 5th, so I still have a fair bit of time to think about colors, think about what how I want to dye each of them. So that'll be something I'll spend a bit of time talking to you about probably in the next week or 2 weeks. But I have to have it done by the 5th of November. The pattern is going to be released over, I think, 4 weeks through October. So each Friday in October we'll get one more part of the pattern. So I've always thought that Stephen West mystery shawls looked like a really fun thing to do, and so I usually never have the timing quite right. So this time around I finally have my timing right. I bought the pattern and I'm starting to get ideas for what I want to do with the yarn. So that's my next step. So that's all I did for acquisitions. The next thing I want to spend a little bit of time doing is I want to spend a bit of time letting you guys take a look at the spinning wheel I have. I think I mentioned this in the last episode briefly, but I have inherited, or I have been given, my great-grandmother's antique Icelandic spinning wheel. It is something she brought with her from Iceland when she immigrated to Canada in 1905. I don't know if it was something that was new when she brought it with her, or if it's something that she had for some time before she actually moved to Canada from Iceland. She spun, I'll show you in just a couple minutes, but she must have spun miles and miles of fleece on this. You can see some of the wear patterns where she's used it. She passed away in 1958 and the spinning wheel has not been used since then. It's been stored in the attic at my mom's place all of these years. So it's not been used since then. It has all of the parts. There's nothing missing from it. It basically it really needs a good cleaning. It doesn't have, it's a bit dusty. It needs a good cleaning after sitting in an attic since the late 1950s, early 1960s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in an extra video. I'll videotape the spinning wheel. I'll talk about different parts of it or different bits of information about the spinning wheel. I will add that in here, and then that'll finish up my video for this week. So here we have it. This is my great-grandmother's Icelandic spinning wheel. She brought it with her from Iceland to Canada in 1905 when she moved to Canada. I want to focus in on a few different parts. So it has all the different pieces. You can see, and I still need to learn all the terms for it. This is some fleece that's still on here that has been here since 1958. So it's getting to be vintage fluff left on here. So it has the fly, the bobbin. Like I say, it needs a good cleaning. It even has the piece for pulling the yarn or the fleece through. The one thing I want to show and point out is look at the wear on the base here. If you look at the treadle, it is worn. It is worn so much. You can actually see on here, if you get it at the right angle, you can see how much wear there is. There's actually, you can see exactly where her foot sat. You can just see just the significant amount of wear on this. Like, it's just amazing that you can see exactly where her foot sat, and you can see exactly where all the wear on the treadle. And this part it just amazes me, the amount of wear on this piece of wood. So I'm going to turn it carefully a little bit to the side. It even has the rope or the thread to put on the spinning wheel. The whole thing, it's in actually really good shape. The one thing that's really kind of neat to see is that at some point there was a repair done. I'm not sure if it's focusing as well as it could on this, but you can see that there's been a band of metal placed around here, and there is a different piece of wood that has been attached to the back. So somewhere along the line, this poor beauty saw some damage, was broken. It looks like it probably broke someplace around in this point here, and there was a piece of metal has been put in there to repair it so that she's functional again. So I'm going to have to spend a bit of time with it, get it all cleaned up nicely, get it all conditioned. I'm sorry about that. all conditioned up nicely, and then get it back into functional working order. So there we have it. My great-grandmother's Icelandic spinning wheel that came with her from Iceland to Canada in 1905. She used it and used it and used it for years until she passed away in 1958, and it's just sat in the meantime not being used. But I want to bring it back to life. I want to learn how to spin using my great-grandmother's antique spinning wheel. So there you have it. I will probably try to insert a few pictures in here that might be a little bit better for viewing. But yeah, you can see, oops, you can see just the layers of oils and just dirt and stuff from years and years of use, and then years and years of just sitting and waiting for someone else to come along and start loving her again. So that's it. My great-grandmother's antique Icelandic spinning wheel. Hope you liked her. I'll be showing you more videos of her as she's being fixed up and as she's getting ready for coming back to being used all the time. So I really want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch my second episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at my great-grandmother's spinning wheel. I'm planning on doing first I need to clean it up, and I want to get it completely back into working order, and I actually want to learn how to spin and learn how to spin wool or spin fleece using this antique spinning wheel that my great-grandmother used for years and years. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'd like to thank you very much for spending some time with me this afternoon, or whenever it is you're watching it. I'm filming this afternoon. It's still morning. It's getting close to noon. I think I forgot to mention at the beginning, it's Saturday, September 22nd, 2018 today. I'm hoping to get the editing on this video done this afternoon, and I hope to get it posted up sometime later this afternoon or sometime this evening at the latest. So take care, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back next week with another update on my progress. Hopefully I won't have any more yarn acquisitions, but I might have, no, I shouldn't have. But I will have some more progress on my two projects. I don't think I'll have a finished object to show you next week, but at least I will have, I should have a fair bit of progress to show you on the two projects that I'm working on right now. So anyways, so have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. Take care. And I'll catch you guys later. Bye.